Hello and welcome to the Rioho Wellness Podcast. This is Margit Jefferson and I am here with Andrei Gospodarczyk, the founder of Rioho. The vision behind Rioho Wellness is to create a tipping point in wellness worldwide, and this podcast will contribute towards that. In each episode, we explore different health issues that present as case studies in Andrei's practice. They range from everyday common health problems through to extremely serious health issues and illnesses. We explore body parts and how they respond to nutrition and environment, and we work on inspiring people to change their life for good through an everyday wellness focus. Rioho is a wellness modality that is unique because it focuses on healing and wellness through basic food and exercises that maneuver the body back to a state of balanced health. People literally jump out of their skin with energy and vitality when they follow Rioho. And it's an incredible turnaround for many who have had low energy for years through to people who have had complex health issues that don't seem to budge. The podcast is an interview format and ranges from 20 to 60 minutes. And if you'd like more of an introduction on Andrei, please see the 3-minute introduction in the first podcast on the homepage. And at the end, I'll be here to give you a little bit more information. So without further ado, let's get into this episode. And here we are at the end of the Lunar New Year celebrations, which we mark with part 2 of our 2019 startup. You said what I thought was a great thing the other day, and I think everybody should hear this, and that is that you have at least until the age of 70 before you even have to remotely contemplate older age in physical terms, which I absolutely love. Can you explain exactly what you meant by that?
There's 3 main stages of our lives, and marked by puberty and also by our aging process in our 60s. So there's not a lot of indicator of that transition in our 60s, but some of the things that starts to happen is the nose starts to grow a little bit longer and the ears start to grow a little bit longer. There's some physical signs, but basically between the early 20s and into 70, you should remain more or less the same. There's some changes that happen. It all depends on what country you're in and the lifestyle that you're living. So we know that going to places like Japan or China or similar countries, that it's hard to tell people's age. Some 60-year-olds look 30, don't they? And it's well known that if you're living a healthy, calm lifestyle, it's not necessary for you to age. On the other hand, some people start to look a bit broken in their 30s. The alcoholics, for example, end up with a very wrinkly face, very skinny legs, a sagging bum, things that you would expect in an old person. There's no need for the body to break down in 30s, 40s, 50s. In some countries, there's no word for menopause. It all depends on your state of health as to how you feel. There's not just one reason for being well, like we were speaking earlier, which is that you have the absence of illness. Another reason now for not being sick is to look better. But these 2 things kind of shallow in comparison to feeling great. The absence of illness or the absence of looking older are minor compared to the reward of feeling well, where you know who you are, where you're heading. You develop your own individual nature by not having your mind, your sense of identity overrun by illness. When you're sick, your body dominates, as it has to for survival. You become like a child again. Your mind turns inwards and questions what you need. When you're an adult, you are part of the community, and it's a give and take process of sharing. You're cooperative. Theoretically, the cooperative process is where you are contributing to the collective and the collective is supporting you. People share skills the same way that your body operates, which is some skills in your body some cells have and another part of your body other skills have, and that's how the collective survives, specializing in certain skills. When you're into that 3rd stage of your life, it's not so much a cooperative as a generous living where you make everyone happy around you. You're just sharing all the time. You're supposed to spread wisdom, light, and happiness around you because of your experiences and your natural generosity now. Because you have resources, you have the support of your family, and you have the wisdom of compassion as a natural response to having lived that long. So the signs of illness are being like a child again, and the signs of being old in your 70s is a natural wisdom and generosity. Now, everyone's body breaks down. It's normal, whether you're very old and it's breaking down, or you've used it up in another way by burning it out. Things like coffee and cocaine uses the reserves of your energy and your what we call life force. So you might feel better drinking some stimulating caffeine drink, but you're using up your reserves, the things that are going to keep you living for a long time and well. It's a scary idea, but that's the way people get through the emergency. You use up your reserves by creating an adrenal hit. You stimulate your sympathetic nervous system. You create a stress state similar to being threatened by a wild animal or in a life-threatening situation. Your body naturally can generate energy from your reserves. It shortens your life, but it stops you from dying. We can maintain that state for years if we want, at a price, of course. A normal state of affairs, we would feel the same, and we would more or less look the same. The average now and the norm is very different to what I'm saying. The proof that I have is if we consider how people look and feel when they're living a natural, healthy lifestyle, which is quite different from what people consider a healthy lifestyle in our modern society, where they go to the gym and have protein drinks and stress their body. They stress it enormously and can create a lot of problems for themselves. Fitness isn't health, of course. So we want a healthy lifestyle to enjoy a full, rich life without issues. The other thing to consider is that the problems that people develop as they, quote unquote, get older, the problems they develop are things like heart disease, arteriosclerosis, in a narrowing of the veins and arteries, inflammation, stiffness in the spine, bowel problems, etc., etc., etc. Now, young people can have exactly those problems, can't they? One of the biggest killers of young women in their 40s now is heart disease. So old people die of the same problems that young people die of. There's no need for either old people or young people to have any of those illnesses. The World Health Organization says that 98% of all medical issues are preventable. In other words, it's all based on lifestyle. This is our deep belief also. Maintaining your health is extremely important, very, very important for all of us to enjoy and have the fullness of our lives. And like we were talking earlier, the full experience of having yourself and your health is more than just the absence of illness. It's a vibrant, comfortable, joyful experience to have the fullness of yourself and know what you should do and exploring your nature and exploring your individuality. Very different to dealing with problems and having an inward mind. Yes, we can talk about not having pain, and that's a lot of the thing that motivates us. But as you get healthier, other things start to motivate you, which is the joy of just feeling great and not wanting to lose that. So hopefully that interesting way of looking at the aging process. There's a lot of ideas involved in all of that, of course. There's 3 distinct stages, and there's rewards in all 3 stages. I was just going to say that there's rewards at every stage of our life. There's the endless energy and innocence of childhood. There's the delight of being free as a teenager and the blessings of being part of a community as an adult, and then the excitement of being an old person and seeing what comes next and being a support for everyone else. There's joys on every level of existence and reward. You can't do what you can do when you're very old, when you're young. You can't do what you can do when you're an adult, when you're a teenager. There's rewards at every level, and we should enjoy those things and be grateful for them. Yeah.
And it leads me on to mindset. Mindset is such an important issue, and really believing that we can do something really well is so important. That we all start there. We're born with it. We're born with an attitude that we can do something. And then the filters start to kick in, and environment shapes our belief systems. The environment being all sorts of multiple things and concepts and peoples and circumstances.
Yeah, some people label those circumstances a conspiracy. But anyway, yes.
Yes, the conspiracy theory. But we all have an environment presented to us which shapes our belief systems. So I'm interested to know, from a Ryoho's perspective, how do you change belief systems around wellness expectations?
Two things. Trust that you're responsible for how you feel. And that's the step one, and probably the most important part of that whole dialogue is you're responsible for how you feel. Even though that responsibility has been usurped, taken away from us, but in our hearts we know that the things that happen to us and the things that are going to happen to us, basically our responsibility. Now, whether we can see the connections or not, whether we know what has caused our problems or what is going to cause our problems, whether we are aware of those things, really the ignorance doesn't change anything. We're connected through many levels of action and reaction. Some cultures call it karma, but we're responsible for dealing with all those things, and any problems that come along our way are our responsibility to deal with. So the reactions we have to problems is very important, and being responsible for our condition, being responsible for our health, being responsible for our illnesses is a really important first step. That's how we can really start to be excited about how we conduct our lives. And it's a jungle. Life is a jungle, like Krishnamurti said, who was a great yoga teacher. And he said, life is a jungle, and we're on our own in that jungle. And it's threatening, it's difficult, it's challenging, but it's also extremely exciting. And if you have that mindset of that it's dangerous and exciting at the same time, and then it's a jungle that you're living in, your attitude shifts very differently. So if you're in a forest, if you're in a wild place and walking around, your senses are very different. Your sense of excitement grows enormously, and you're much more alert to everything around you, how you're feeling and what's happening. Your hearing tunes in, your eyesight is peripheral, your body is alert and toned. You breathe in a very different manner with clarity and conservation. And so having those two states of mind, that really you're responsible, and secondly, that it's a wild and wonderful life, those two things shift your mind enormously. Now, it's difficult for people to do that, but it's really the truth of our existence. And more so that it's dangerous out there. People are trying to feed you things that are cancerous, dangerous. People want to sell you cigarettes. People want to sell you alcohol. There's substances in our food that are known carcinogens, but they're there for... It's dangerous out there. You can't just trust everything is okay. We need to be careful and alert and not be too whimsical about our existence, and know that it's a challenge and take that responsibility. These difficulties are part of the joy. No one has any self-respect unless they have overcome themselves in some way. No one has a better relationship with their partner than unless the two of you have gone through something together. It's the challenges that we have that create self-respect and love and commitment for yourself and for our loved ones, our people that we're with. If you've gone through things together and Whether you succeeded or not, it doesn't matter. It's whether you go through things and be together in that challenge. So those two things, I think, are extremely important in changing your perception. Know that you're responsible, and that if someone does help you with your health, you kind of end up in debt. So if you found a good acupuncturist and they make you feel better, that's okay, but you should use that opportunity to change your lifestyle. Figure out why you needed to go to the acupuncturist in the first place, or else you have to just keep going to the acupuncturist. You become indebted to them. You need them now. If you find a doctor that fixes your problem, they've taken the symptom away, because the cause is attitude, lifestyle, behavior. These are the causes of our problems. And if someone has come along and fixed that problem, then you've relinquished the problem. And in fact, we should resent that a little bit. If you have a headache and you take a pill to take that away, imagine having that headache and no pill to cure it. What would you have to do? You'd have to find out where that headache is coming from and actually deal with the cause of the problem. If you have a bad back and someone fixes it for you, why did you have a bad back? And maybe it is a weakness, maybe it is genetic, but still we need to work on that and take that responsibility. And there are tools for that. Simple, beautiful tools that have always been available to us. Using Western medical science is really helpful, but we need to be involved in the process. So maybe you have an operation, but then we need to work hard to fix that back and make it stronger afterwards. Going to anyone for help, like if you've had a heart attack and you've had that fixed up by having an operation, any doctor will tell you that unless you change your lifestyle a little bit, that you'll be back for another operation in 6 months or a year or 2 years. That the repercussions of lifestyle is what's important. That if you do change your lifestyle and start eating mung beans now for the rest of your life and power walking up and down the beach every morning, that maybe you won't be back for another heart operation. In fact, it's very unlikely. And the right thing was to take that opportunity that was given to you to change your lifestyle. So taking responsibility for your condition is one, and realizing that you're in a very exciting place and it's dangerous and rewarding at the same time. I think these are the right attitudes to develop, and everything comes from attitude. You learn to walk from attitude. In other words, the desire to walk creates the ability to walk. The desire to stand up creates the ability to stand up. And having the right intention is extremely important. Having courage, having faith, having understanding, these things, the basis of developing wellness, whether you're a person who suffers from skin disease, whether you're a person who has weight problems, or whether you just want to lose a little bit of belly fat and lift your bottom. It's the same thing. You need to have a little bit of understanding, take responsibility, and enjoy the wonderful results of doing just a little right thing every day. Not trying too hard, but not trying too little either. And work out what suits you and keep looking for results, profound, effective results. Maybe you need counseling. Maybe you need to change your environment. But yes, do those things, but it's lifestyle in the end that matters. What you put in your mouth and how you move. They're the important things.
Through the year that's stretching ahead of us, if people find themselves and catch themselves being a little bit negative or down or judgmental, all behaviours that don't support us to be our best, what's a quick fix to change that state to pull ourselves up?
Sure. Two answers to that. And one is that we should do a ritual every single day of sitting down just for a moment. And I know our lives aren't like this in our world, but sitting down just for a moment, maybe just before bed or maybe when you get home, set a timer and just assess the day. Take 5 minutes and do it as a meditation. There's a lovely old saying, which is, a life unexamined is not worth living. And it's absolutely true. It's part of the Buddhist ritual. It's part of the Catholic ritual. It's part of every single traditional lifestyle process. We've relinquished that. That's okay. But sitting there and not just meditating, but meditating upon yourself is really, really important as a ritual every single day. You just go through, how did I behave today? Did I get angry at a person the way they were driving? And just remember that you've driven badly yourself also at some point and annoyed someone, and be forgiving and let that anger go, and even in fact apologize. Maybe you had a little negative thought about someone that you shouldn't have had, and be generous. It's an extremely rewarding thing. Lightness comes to your heart straight away. The right response to someone stealing your wallet, for example, is to wish them money so they wouldn't have to steal. If you do that, immediately you feel light and joyful. You forget about the wallet straight away. Try it when you lose something or you've had something stolen from you. The opposite is wishing negativity on that person. And what happens is that you take on that negativity. You only see the bad part of that person. You don't see their circumstances. So the only response you've had for your benefit, not for theirs, is to wish them money so that they don't have to steal anymore, so that you don't take on the negative part of that person without any of the positive part of them. You become a bigger monster than they are. So it's important to do that one thing every day, just a few minutes. Have boundaries is really important, to sit down every day and just go through your behaviors and set boundaries for yourself. Know what you know and know what you don't know. It's a wonderful process, and that helps enormously, going over how you behaved and seeing who you are. Then, of course, during the day, some nasty little things happen, and I've given you a couple of little clues, but more general, if you're really tired, if you're angry, if you're distressed, just think, okay, gee, I had some eggs this morning and today I'm cranky. Maybe eggs is not such a good thing for me. And on the other hand, what you can do is know that it's the breath that can change everything. So you just stand there. If someone's screaming at you and you're trying to keep calm, if you're in a very stressful situation and everything is desperate, just know that breathing deep into your belly allows you to stand firm and face the challenge calmly and with all your faculties. That observing how you react to things and then taking charge of that with your breath is actually a very rewarding process. The breath is a breath in, the belly expands, and then you breathe out, pull it back a little bit and wait until you need to breathe in again. And then move your belly forward as you breathe in. If it's a little bit awkward for you, you'll find that you can practice it and you'll get better at it. And if you do 6 breaths like that, reality shifts. It's all to do with perspective, your perspective. So 2 tools. One is sit at the end of every day and spend 10 minutes finding out who you are by knowing what you know and what you don't know. In other words, assessing your day. Oh, gee, I reacted badly in that situation. There's my boundary. I get it. Now, the way I can fix that is by just apologizing to yourself and think of a better way you could have reacted. And always with generosity and humility and apology. That's the right way to exist, because we're a gift to ourselves. And the other tool is when things are difficult, it's never that big a situation where you can't just stop for a few seconds and breathe deeply. Now, if you're in a panic situation and everyone else is screaming and yelling at you, by standing there breathing deeply, it makes you look really wise. So don't worry about taking your time. I used to have a yoga teacher in my very, very early days where it wasn't a good situation for me with them because they really didn't know what they were doing, but it was an experience. And if I'd ask a question, or if anyone asked a question, he'd look at them and just nod their head and make a humming sound. And I realized later because he had no idea what was going on. But it's don't worry about you just stopping and quietly breathing. It's okay. And wisdom comes with that lovely little breath and good calming experience for you. And then you can really assess the situation better. And maybe nothing will come, but it's the right response to breathe deep. Generally, what you'll find is the emotional reaction, the panic disappears, and you feel a little bit more optimistic and excited about life and the world. And 99% of the time, you'll go into a nice state of mind where all your faculties will line up, because the heart is intelligent as the brain is intelligent also. And that intuitive synthesis of all of you working together and giving you that aha moment of realization and how to solve the problem. Like Einstein said, all of his greatest ideas came in a moment as a realization. And that's the way it is with all of us. Just breathe deep and wait for a little while. But it's always important to breathe the right way. Breathe into the belly as you expand it and contract it as you breathe out. So let us know if anyone has run into a little situation and they tried to do that breathing thing and what happened. And also, please let us know if that little meditation of 10 minutes or 5 minutes a day where you just sit quietly and assess your life and then get on with it. Why not? Why not just spend a moment enjoying yourself and your day? It's no big deal to do, but it's very big deal on the other hand because the rewards are enormous, more than money.
Yeah, that's really fantastic advice. And the next question I was going to ask was the flip side. And I'm wondering whether the response is the same response. And the flip side is when we're feeling rested and strong and inspired, how do we bottle a little bit of that up and keep a little bit of that going throughout the year when we perhaps are feeling a bit of depletion?
The summer podcast really is a good clue to that. You know, it's normal for us to feel full, inspired, excited. And yes, I know we've had time off. Some people had a little time off, but even if we've had 3 weeks off as compared to 3 days off for some people, we'll all still feel better because it's summer and it's a normal state and we enjoy that. It's normal for us to feel at the middle of the day full and energetic. It's normal, and that we can tackle our problems and enjoy them. And it's also normal at the end of the day to feel depleted and tired. And it's okay to give all your energy away. In fact, you get so much more energy if you give it all away. If you use it up, use up this good energy by setting up your life the right way. Take it and use it. In other words, do things that are useful to you. Do things that are comfortable, like maybe trying that meditation if you got the energy to do it now instead of the stress. Try and do those breathing techniques. Don't do too much exercise. Don't do too much therapeutic stuff. It's only a little bit every day that you need to do. You don't need to do hours. There might be something that you do like meditation where some people do an hour and a half, and that monastic style suits them. And it's wonderful. Wish everyone had that opportunity to live that kind of life. But most of us have only the opportunity of a little bit. And to maintain your wellness and enjoy what we call the householder experience, which is the fullness of having a job and, relationships and a car to clean, dogs and cats to feed and all the rest of it. And just those few minutes in the morning of maintaining your health, and maybe your body is even stiffened up. You're feeling more energetic and you feel full of energy that you can use now and fix up some things maybe that you didn't have time for before. But if your body's stiffened up, it's okay. Maybe you're lying around a lot over the summer season. It's made you feel better. It's all good, but start using those things more sensibly now, that extra energy, and use it for a little bit of activity every morning. And it's important to set the tone of the day every morning. It's like planting a seed, and it's important to reap the rewards every day at the end of the afternoon. So plant a seed every morning by setting your goals, not just in your head, but with an action. Do some therapeutic movements, or cook some good food, or go for a walk, or whatever suits you that is rewarding and strong. And have in mind to tackle the bigger goals. Maybe you have some weight issues, and so the bigger goal is to lose some weight. But you can start by looking at a new recipe every single morning and adding that to your life. Maybe you have a back problem, and so every single morning you learn to walk better by walking on your big toes and using your core to walk instead of your knees. Maybe you have some kind of psychological problem or emotional disorders. And so you'd learn how to do some good breathing techniques to shift your energy from your brain and your heart down into your core so that you're more balanced as a person. Just a little thing every morning that helps you plant a seed of intention for the whole day. And within a week, it's so dramatic, those changes. It's that little bit every day that matters. So yeah, maybe we're boundless with energy now from having a summer holiday, or maybe you're feeling negative about having to go back to work. But just take the nice feeling and take that into work by doing the right thing every morning for yourself, that whatever you need to do. If you don't know what to do, then start looking around, seek advice. Like we were saying earlier, maybe you can see people that are energetic and looking good and feeling good. Maybe it's not good to use some of our celebrities as an icon, using some of our celebrities as a goal, Lindsay Lohan and all these other people. But maybe there are other people that you do admire and think that they are worth imitating a little bit. And then find your way of maintaining, all based on discipline, a little bit of work. Not a lot, just a little bit, because hard work leads to stress, and we're not designed for that.
I was reflecting that we've covered a lot of deep topics in this opening podcast for 2019, and we have opened a lot of loops. Some would say we've opened a lot of can of worms, but let's say we've opened a lot of loops which we will work on in our podcasts over the coming year. For now, and to sum up, how do you think our listeners can get the best out of 2019 and give themselves the best chance of a great year of moving forward in their wellness?
It's a lovely thing to have the best intentions for yourself, and I'm having the best intentions for everyone and wishing them all a wonderful year. And I want them to know, and my advice to them is that health and our state of mind is influenced by our condition. So your condition can change by doing little things that improve. And it's always good to do the things that you need to do rather than the things that maybe you think you should do. There's a big difference. And having an open mind and having that love fact, it's always been said, where love conquers all, and it's absolutely true. We have to look outside ourselves and find reasons to improve ourselves based on the affection we have for maybe our children, which makes us rise above ourselves. So finding the thing that you really need to work on. Maybe it's your diet, maybe we need to do exercise, maybe we need to learn to breathe deeper so that our muscles relax. When your muscles are relaxed, you don't feel like quarreling. When your spine is stretched, you feel strong and vibrant. Changing your body changes the way you feel. But the one thing I really want to offer this year is get people to know that how you feel is influenced by your condition, by your health. It's a parent-child relationship, which you've heard me talk about in other podcasts, where we as human beings need to actually look after ourselves in a very specific way. It's very different to animals. We need to be careful and talk to ourselves. You can actually be your own hero. You can actually say to yourself, Betty, get up, off you go, have a cold shower. It's time to go for our walk, and talk to yourself. It's like two parts of ourselves that we're very distinct, which is the reluctant part, which is the tendency for your body towards entropy and just staying still. And then there's the vibrant part of us, the mind part, which floats around and has wonderful ideas and thinks different things and can fly to Cuba in a second. And bringing those two together, which is using the mind to motivate our body, I think this is the time for people to realize that we're in a time now in the world where people are realizing very simple things, that chemicals affect us, how sugar affects us, how big companies are not to be trusted a lot of the time, that we need to find the truth within ourselves. What really suits us as individuals is different compared to another person. Finding the truth for ourselves. Yes, we're all aiming for the same goal, but our paths are different. These are all really interesting things that we're all really recognizing, and I want everyone to know that you don't fight yourself, you nurture yourself. Be a good parent. Respect your condition, and it's the little things you do every day that add up to a very, very big picture. Aristotle said that excellence comes from every little thing that you do every day. Excellence is not something that happens just once. It's a reflection of your state of being of you as a person. And that is created by habit, and that is created by the little things that you do every day. Your condition turns into you as a human being. That's something that I really want everyone to understand this year, and it'll make a wonderful, wonderful present and a wonderful gift to yourself to have that in mind all the time. Doing those little things that make a big difference to you. And it might be a little bit difficult, but if you have that love around you of caring for something outside yourself a little bit more than you're caring about yourself, it will uplift you. And look for those reasons outside yourself. Think of other people, think of those around you, and be excited by that. It's a wonderful way to live.
So that's a wrap for the Startup for 2019. If you missed part 1, be sure to go back to it and listen to all the great content to help you have a fantastic year and hopefully a step change to a much higher level of health and wellness. And we hope you've enjoyed this episode just as much as we've enjoyed putting it together for you. Any listeners who would like to learn more about Andre's work or Ryoho can connect and follow on Instagram and LinkedIn using the address of Ryoho Wellness. We spell Ryoho Ryoho and then add wellness on the end, obviously. Episode notes will be loaded up and available at ryohowellness.com, which is the master website. And just a few more things before you take off. Number 1, do you have a health issue or question you would like explored in one of our podcasts? Please submit it to us at the website where there is a contact page, ryohowellness.com website. Number 2, would you enjoy being notified by very short email every time we do something on Ryoho Wellness? This includes notification of our up-and-coming wellness podcasts and other things towards our tipping point. If you want to receive that, go to ryohowellness.com and drop in your email address and you'll get the very next one. And we hope you really enjoy it. Thanks everyone for listening, and thank you, Andre, for another fantastic episode. See you next time.